My name is Nigel Westwood and I'm 25. The business is called Avélére, and we manufacture, or design and manufacture kind of furnitures and homewares in a kind of Scandinavian style. And we try to put like an interesting twist on furniture products basically. The majority of the design is kind of shared between us. I work more on the manufacturing side, so most of our manufacturing is kind of outsourced. We work with different kind of workshops around the country. So Guru does kind of more of the styling, and then I say what's feasible, what's not feasible, and how we can tweak it to work with the manufacturers. So I started working, God, how old is this? My mum actually started a business when I would have been about 10 or 11, and when I was 16 or 17, kind of my final years of school, I started working with her kind of part-time, and then when I finished school I took a year off and worked kind of full-time with her, and that was a computer training business. So we basically go into larger companies and train them on Microsoft Office and this kind of thing, and I guess that kind of got me into the mindset that I could actually start my own business and run things. And I went off to university, and in my final year of university I was a bit short on money and I was doing a business degree, so I was like, alright, I've got to start a business. So I set up a website and just bought some stock off, this was like some health supplement stuff, kind of protein shakes and like vitamins and things, and just kind of started selling through this website, and that would have been, maybe 2021, 22. And then, it's kind of just ever since then. So my degree at Bath was, I kind of focused mostly on finance, and I did a couple of internships whilst I was at Bath, working in different investment banks in London. And in my final year, the first part of my final year, I actually did an exchange to Canada, to Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. And whilst I was there, I basically exclusively took entrepreneurship modules, because by that point I've kind of realised, I started to figure out, like, I don't really want to go into banking, I kind of want to be starting my own business. It was a bit more kind of practical and hands-on. I found the comparison between the English unis and kind of the American ones was that it was a lot more kind of theory focused in the UK, like lots of referencing, lots of, going off the theory, whereas in Canada they were like, you write like a 2,000 word essay and they were like, don't use more than 2 references. I was like, all right, this is a whole new way of thinking. But so I'd say it's a lot more practical. They kind of push you to come up with your own theories and draw on what other people have done, but then try and take it somewhere else. So this is another business that we started. Gura is very into fashion, and she likes to buy like designer handbags and these kind of things. And she was going to buy this thing to go in the bottom of one of her handbags, a base shape, called it a base shaper. It's basically just a piece of acrylic plastic that's cut to the size of the bag, to kind of look after these like £1,000 handbags or whatever. And she was going to buy one of these, and it was like £30 or something, and I was like, well, I could make that for 5. So I went and did that, and then so we started up this business together, selling these base shapers online, and then kind of from there we've just carried on starting different businesses together. The finance from that business actually was kind of the last £100 of my student overdraft. So I knew what the product was, obviously, and it was something that was quite easy to make. So I pretty much just got on the phone to some different plastics manufacturing guys, phoned around till I found someone who was willing to send us one for free. They did that, and obviously we got to like check out the product, test it a bit, and I effectively kind of used my final £100 just to make a small batch of, I think it was like 10 of them or something, and just had them shipped to my house. And from there I actually agreed with the supplier that they'd kind of just do it one by one for us and send them direct out to our customers. It's literally a sheet of acrylic plastic about 3mm thick, cut into a very specific size to fit into the base of a handbag. From there, we took some money from this business as it grew and put it into starting Avélére, which is the current company. So Avélére, we make furniture and homewares. So we make kind of like tables, chairs, little stools, etc. Mostly out of wood at the moment, and also homewares. So we do kind of like scented candles, tea towels. We try and put like a bit of a unique spin on them. So for example, our furniture, our range is, we call it fixing list. So it's effectively like flat pack, kind of IKEA style, except everything goes together. It just, without screws, it just clips together. You can put it together with your hands. It's a bit more, yeah, it's kind of, the idea is that it's very simple for people to do. I guess to start at the beginning of the chain, we kind of figure out the areas where we want products, etc. We'll come up with the designs for these. The manufacturing, for example, the wood manufacturing, we work with a few different suppliers who are in Devon, and we'll effectively take our designs that I'll draw out on these like CAD programs, so computer-aided design, and they cut them out. I'll send it down to these manufacturers who will produce us the samples or the prototypes of these products and ship them back up to London for us. And then it kind of goes from there, a bit of refinement until we've settled on final designs, and then we'll put in kind of a bulk order with them. At the moment, we've just been selling online up to this point through our website, and we sell through Etsy as well, which is kind of like a marketplace online for kind of like craft goods. We actually literally just yesterday had a few different meetings with some different stores in London. We've been in contact with some people in different countries as well, like New Zealand and Australia. Yeah, so it's kind of, we're starting to move into the wholesale area. This business, we first had a product on sale, I think it was July last year. That was when we first went on sale, and it was probably 2 or 3 months before that when we first came up with kind of the idea. I'd say on this business, we probably invest more in development at the moment still than we do make a profit. But because it's under the same umbrella as the base shapers business, the kind of group as a whole still makes profit because of the other business, and that has done virtually since day one. Yeah. So that kind of helps to support developing this current business. My greatest challenges. Let me see. I would actually say something that I found interesting was kind of the background I've come from. Like, I've always been expected to do well academically, and people expect you to go into certain things, which is kind of, I guess, why I was studying a lot of finance, and I went off into do these banking jobs, etc. And obviously I've developed a circle of friends who are all in that kind of area, and for me to go off and do something completely different, a lot of my friends don't really understand this, and there's kind of this expectation. So it might even be me putting pressure on myself. But I'd say that's something that I didn't really think about before I started like going into entrepreneurship. Yeah, I guess yeah, to be an entrepreneur you've got to be quite optimistic and look at the long game. I guess thinking about, like, I studied economics at school and took economics a long way through university as well, and something I always looked into for that was kind of short-term gain versus long-term gain, and you look at different examples of companies who've taken like a short-term profit and suffered in the long run, and I've always tried to say to myself, like, I've got to focus on the long game even when it's slightly detrimental in the short term. probably, if it was the right thing, I think I'd struggle, to be honest. I've never been the best at following instructions as it is, so. I wouldn't say it particularly eats into my social life, but obviously I plan my social life around my work more so, but that's because I enjoy doing what I do. Like when I used to do these internships in banks, etc., then it'd get to Sunday evening and I'd be like, oh god, I got to go to work on Monday. Whereas now I don't mind, like, if I sit around on my Sunday evening and do some work, and I'm not like dreading going to work on a Monday. I'm happy to work till like 9, 10 in the evening. It doesn't really bother me. So. Yeah, my thing was coming out of university, having done a business degree, I came out and I was like, great, right, I can run a great business. And then I went, right, I can't do anything. Doing a business degree, you learn, like, I could go and be a consultant, I could go and do this, I could do that, but realistically, no people are going to listen to a graduate fresh out of university saying that he knows everything. So it was kind of more an experimentation, figuring out something that I felt like I could do well, and something that, effectively I could afford to do as well. Kind of the way we got into this business was generally furniture manufacturing can be a pretty expensive thing to do unless you're kind of hand making everything yourself. So the reason we've almost got the spin we have is that we looked at kind of traditional manufacturing techniques and ways that these manufacturers were working, and figured out, right, these are concepts that are easy for them to do and they're happy to do, and we can get them at the right price. So how can we use these to create something? Well, I actually got introduced to Shell LiveWIRE through a couple of friends from university who've also started a business, and they won one of the monthly awards kind of start of 2014, mid 2014, and I saw that they'd won this award, and I kind of went out for a drink with them and had a chat about it, and they're like, yeah, you should like definitely look into it, apply for it. And so I did, and first time round we didn't win the monthly award, and we were like, God, but we decided, we just got to keep trying. The advice that you can get from them, and there was a bit of a financial reward as well if you won, which helped us a lot. So we kind of put another application in, won this monthly award, and then towards, when would it have been? Maybe September, October time in 2014. They got in touch with us and they said, everyone who's won these monthly awards throughout the past calendar year, so I think there were 48 different companies, so like four awards each month, then you're invited to apply for Shell LiveWIRE Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And we kind of had to fill out another application, tell everyone a lot about the business, etc. And I was fortunate enough to kind of get picked for the final 8 from the country, which is quite really cool. And then kind of another series of, we had to write out kind of like a full business plan, do some presentations, etc. And we were invited along to this kind of day that was held at the Shell building in Waterloo, where we kind of did this presentation, and we had like a Q&A session about our business plan. And that was kind of like a judged thing, which was really fun. I got to meet like some interesting people, and like other people from the award scheme who I didn't know, which was quite cool as well. And then, unfortunately, I guess I didn't win it, but I was in the final, so I was happy. I think there's a lot of benefits to Shell LiveWIRE actually. One thing that I value a lot is the blog they run. They have a lot of different entrepreneurs, different, say, past winners from their award scheme, who'll come on each month. I think there's about 3 or 4 each month who post articles, and it's generally different advice about how they're doing with their businesses, things that they think other entrepreneurs should be considering. I find that a really valuable resource. The reason I find it valuable is it's not just to see advice from other people, but when you're working on your own company, and especially a small company, you haven't got this, it's not like working in a massive company where you've got this vast network of people you can always turn to. So even if you have these different mentors you can go and meet around, etc., it's nice to have this other kind of set of advice that you can turn to, and the people are good people, they know what they're talking about. Generally, I talk to my dad a lot, actually. He's never run his own business, but he's worked, he's kind of been an IT consultant professional for years and years and years, and he always kind of helps me with the business side of things, and he comes up with a lot of good ideas, which really help me out. And if I just want to talk things through, he's quite level-headed, so it definitely helps me. And I also talk to kind of my different friends who run small businesses as well. For example, the guys who told me about Shell LiveWIRE, I meet up with them kind of every few months, and talk to them quite a lot on the phone, etc. And yeah, they definitely help me out as well, because we're kind of going through the same thing at the same time, and one of us has always done something slightly different, and we're like, oh, is this the right way to do it? I don't know. Yeah, I'd say I tend to, mostly kind of peers are the people I actually turn to rather than more experienced people. But I don't know, maybe it's just because it's harder to meet, kind of to get the time with an experienced, entrepreneur, etc. Where do I hope to go in the future? Yeah, I mean, I obviously, starting with Avélére, I guess we kind of hope that we continue to grow, and we want to kind of open up our own series of shops, etc., and have kind of a global presence, yeah, with the business, which is, I guess, what a lot of people, pretty much anyone starting a business wants to think about their business. And me personally, I don't really know, I really enjoy starting up different businesses and looking at different kind of creative challenges, basically, and putting a new twist on an old problem. So I'm sure in the future I'll probably one day move on from Avélére. Not saying that I'll ever stop working on Avélére. Maybe if it carries on growing, then it's probably something I'd like to stick with for a long time. But I'll definitely go on and start up different things, and yeah, it's always a different adventure whenever you start something, a different experience. I think my characteristics as an entrepreneur reflect my characteristics as me as a person. I'm kind of like this eternal optimist. Like, it's pretty hard to get me down. I'm always looking at the positives in everything, and that definitely helps out in an entrepreneurship environment. But, you're trying all these different things, and probably 80% of them don't work, or something goes wrong with it. And, you're always being constantly let down, I guess. But if you keep, this like kind of optimism always picks you back up and keeps you going. I really love to learn. I'm always kind of like, you get lots of kind of online courses you can do from different universities. I'm always kind of trying to like take a few of these every month to keep on learning, just because I think you've got to keep developing the mind. Like, you can't just focus on the one thing you're doing. You need to kind of keep learning about broader things as well. So that's something that I think really helps me with the entrepreneurship as well. Like, I did an Open University online course like last week about it was a strategy framework thing, and we've kind of like given this a try. Like, Guru and I have been talking about it and like thinking about different problems and solutions with the business, and that's definitely helped us out. So learning, loving to learn and really wanting to learn is definitely something which is a positive for me. In terms of things I don't have, I'm quite easily distracted, I think. In the business relationship with Guru and I'm always the one who's going, oh, but we could do this, we could do that, let's try this, let's try that. And she's a lot more focused than me. She's kind of able to guide me and keep me on the straight and narrow, and focusing on the things which will perhaps take us forward quicker. Whereas I'm more of a big picture person, always looking around, seeing like, oh, but there's a business there to do, there's a business there. So a little more focus perhaps would do me good, but then equally perhaps it would shut down other sides of my personality that help me out. So I don't know. My top tip would be just do it. If I understand that, if you're, say, a recent graduate or whatever, they've probably, if you're working a job and it's probably taking up a lot of your time, etc., and if you've got these ambitions elsewhere, then you've just got to set aside a bit of time in your evenings, get up slightly earlier, don't go out partying so much, and just, take a little bit of time and try out your idea. If you want to start a website, just go online and start a website, and you can find how to do basically anything on Google these days. If you need to learn, if you're like, I want to do this but I don't know how to do this skill, Google it and you'll find an answer, or you'll find a course. The only way to actually go into starting a business is to start something, and you'll start out and honestly you'll probably be terrible. My first businesses were awful. And even now I look back at Avélére like a month ago or 2 months ago, and I'm embarrassed looking back, because I'm like, well, why, that was so bad, why were people buying from us anyway? And the more time you put into it, the better it will get. And I think it is something that you can do alongside another job to begin with. And yeah, I think that's how you got to start. Even if you have to put a few £100 out of your own pocket into it, I think it's worth it. At least you'll go and you'll learn something, and you'll come out of it a better person. Even if you don't go on with this business, next time maybe you'll come up with something else and you'll go into that instead. So yeah, my advice would be just give it a shot. Put some time into it.